Very good morning, students. In the previous session, we have seen the determination of hardness of water by using EDTA method. So what is the use of EDTA method? EDTA method is used to find only the hardness of given water sample. How much amount of hardness is there in the given water sample? Yes, that is the main aim of EDTA method. And the next topic in today's session, I'm going to explain you the purification technique. Purification technique is nothing but the method which is purifying the hard water. That means we can convert hard water to soft water by using purification techniques. So we are having two types of purification technique. One is called the external treatment and another one is called the internal treatment. So external treatment, in the external treatment, we are sending the water through externally. So the process is doing by externally. That is called the external treatment. But in the internal treatment, in water, we are adding some chemicals. That is called the internal treatment. That is the difference between the external treatment and the internal treatment. So we are having various external treatments and the internal treatment. Among the best external and internal treatments, today we are going to see. And in external treatment, we are having around three best techniques. One is the lime soda process, geolite process, and the ion exchange method. A lime soda and geolite process is not part of our syllabus. Only ion exchange method is part of our syllabus. And we are having one more purification technique, but that is not comes under external treatment. That is comes under desalination of water. That is also part of our syllabus. That is the reverse osmosis process. So whatever the purifiers we are using nowadays in the domestic purpose, those are RO purifiers. Here their RO is nothing but the reverse osmosis. Yes, so that is one of the desalination process that is not comes under external treatment, but that is also one of the purification technique. But in the external treatment, we are having only three best techniques. One is the lime soda process, geolite process, and the ion exchange method. Lime soda and geolite is not part of our syllabus, but just I will show the diagrams of lime soda process. In lime soda process, we are having two techniques. One is the cold lime soda process. This is the diagram for the cold lime soda process. And one more is there, that is the hot lime soda process. And this is the diagram for the hot lime soda process. So there are two methods in the lime soda process. One is the cold lime soda process and another one is the hot lime soda process. And the second technique is the geolite or the permutate process, which is also not part of our syllabus. So directly I'm going to explain you the ion exchange method. Ion exchange method is also called as the demineralization process. It is called as a demineralization process because we are removing all the minerals in the water sample. That means hard water sample. We are removing all the hardness causing minerals in the water sample by using ion exchange method. The meaning of ion exchange process is the process which exchanges all the hardness causing ions in the water sample. What are the hardness causing ions? We know various cations are there and various anions are there which are responsible for the hardness. What are the cations? One is calcium plus 2 and another one is the magnesium plus 2. And what are the anions which are causing hardness? Bicarbonate, chloride, sulfates and the nitrates. So now what is our aim? We are removing all the cations and all the anions. That means we are removing all the ions which are causing hardness by using ion exchange method. So now let us look into the ion exchange process. Ion exchange resins are insoluble. What is mean by the resin? Yes, so here in the ion exchange process, we are using one of the polymer, one of the resin. This resin is responsible to remove the cations and the anions. Here resin is nothing but the polymer. A rubber like resin we are using here, a rubber like polymer we are using, that rubber like polymer is called the resin here. And what is the role of resin here? The resin is exchanging the cations and the anions in the water sample. It is removing all the cations and the anions in the water sample. And these resins are insoluble. That means these are not soluble in the hard water sample. And these are a cross-linked polymer. The polymer structure is the three-dimensional structure. It is a cross-linked polymer. I will explain you later in the next unit what is mean by the cross-linked polymer. And it is one of the long chain organic polymer. The chain structure is the lengthy. Polymer is nothing but the long chain only. Yes, which is having a more number of monomers, more number of molecules are present in the polymer. Yes, so here ion exchange resins are insoluble and also cross-linked and also long chain organic polymers. And here these polymers are attached to the functional groups. Here functional groups are maybe NH2 functional group, that means amino functional group, or carboxylic acid functional group, or sulfuric acid functional group, or any other functional group. What is the role of this functional group on the polymer chain? This functional group is removing, or these are exchanging cations and the anions in the water sample. So the functional groups attached to the chain can exchange. Yes, what is the role of the functional groups? These can exchange hardness producing cations and the hardness producing anions present in the water sample. So you know what are the hardness producing cations? What are the hardness producing anions? What are the hardness producing cations? Calcium plus 2 and the magnesium plus 2. What are the hardness causing anions? Bicarbonates, chlorides, sulfates, and the nitrates. So here these functional groups are removing all the hardness causing cations and the anions in the hard water sample. So now let us see the process. The process is involving the two steps. It is having the two steps. But before the two steps, let us look into the diagram. This is the diagram for the ion exchange process. We are having the two chambers here. One is the cation exchange chamber and another one is the anion exchange chamber. To understand this, I will share another one. You can understand by using this very easily. So this is the diagram. See here, we are having the two chambers here. The first chamber is a cation exchange chamber. It is having the cation exchange chamber. And the second chamber is having the anion exchange chamber. So initially we are passing the hard water sample to the cation exchange chamber. So when we are passing the hard water sample initially through the cation exchange chamber, it is exchanging all the hardness causing cations in the water sample. That means the calcium plus 2 and magnesium plus 2 are exchanging in this cation exchange resin. So after exchanging all the cations, there are no cations in the water. Only anions are left in the water. So the water which is having only anions are passing through the anion exchange bed. This is anion exchange resin. When the water is passing through the anion exchange resin, what is happening here? It is exchanging all the hardness causing anions in the water sample. It is removing all the cations. It is removing all the anions. Is there any cation and anion which is causing hardness? No, there are no cations. There are no anions which are causing hardness. So finally, we are getting the water which is soft water. It is a soft water outlet. Through this outlet, we can collect all the soft water. But here, there is one problem here. What is the problem? Initially, this resin, the symbol for cation exchange resin is RH plus. The symbol for anion exchange resin is ROH minus. Let us assume this resin initially having around 100 H plus ions and this resin is having 100 OH minus ion. Just let us assume. So when the water is passing through the cation exchange resin, how much capacity is it is having? It can replace only 100 H plus ions with calcium plus 2 and magnesium plus 2. After completion of 100 H plus ions replacing, when we pass the hard water sample, is there any H plus ion for replacing calcium plus 2 magnesium plus 2? No. So what is happening here at one of the time, at one of the place, the cation exchange resin is exhausted. That means which can't be used for the replacing. Same in the case of anion exchange resin also. After complete replacement of the anions, after complete replacement of OH minus ions with the anions, there are no OH minus ions for replacing with the new anions. So what we are doing here, we are regenerating this. What is mean by the regenerating? Regenerating is nothing but reproduction. We are reproducing the cation exchange resin and the anion exchange resin. So what is happening here? In the place of H plus, calcium plus 2, magnesium plus 2 are replacing at the entire resin. Even here also at the entire resin, at the place of OH minus ions, all the anions are replaced. So here, this resin is washing with the acid. This is the acid regenerator. When we are passing acid, what is mean by the acid? Acid is nothing but the solution which contains H plus ions. So this acid is having H plus ions. These H plus ions are replacing with the calcium plus 2 and magnesium plus 2 at the resin. So when calcium plus 2, magnesium plus 2 are replacing, again we will get RH. What is RH here? Cation exchange resin. Same in the place of anion exchange resin also. Here when all the OH minus ions are replacing with chlorides, nitrates, sulfates, and bicarbonates, when it is replaced, when it is treating with the base, when it is treating with the alkaline is nothing but the basic solution. When it is treating with the alkaline solution, the bases are having the OH minus ions. These OH minus ions are replacing with the Cl minus, nitrates, bicarbonates. Yes, so that means again we are getting the ROH. What is ROH? Anion exchange resin. So like that we are regenerating the cation exchange resin and the anion exchange resin. So this is the diagram for the ion exchange method. So now let us see the previous one. Yes, so this is the diagram, but whatever the diagram I have explained now, that I will give in the notes. Yes, so maybe you understood that. Now I will explain with the help of procedure. Yes, so what was there? We are having the two chambers. What was the first chamber? The first chamber is having the cation exchange resin, and the second chamber is having the anion exchange resin. The first chamber is replacing the cations. The second chamber is replacing the anions. Yes. So through the first chamber, we are passing the acid for regeneration. For the second chamber, we are passing the alkaline solution or the base solution for the regeneration. So now let us see the process. The process involves the following steps. The first chamber is packed with the cation exchange resin. What is the symbol of cation exchange resin? RH plus. When the hard water is passed through a bed of cation exchange resin, it is exchanging the H plus ions with calcium plus 2 and the magnesium plus 2 ions in the water sample. There are a minimum number of, that means minute, very less number of potassium and sodium ions also there. And these ions also replacing at the cation exchange resin. But we are not representing K plus and Na plus because there are very less number of potassium and sodium ions are present in the water sample. So here, this is what is RH plus? What is RH plus? Cation exchange resin. Cation exchange resin. But what we are passing through the cation exchange resin? Water. What water is having? Calcium plus 2 and the magnesium plus 2. So these H plus ions are replacing with the calcium plus 2 and magnesium plus 2. That means at the place of H plus, we are getting the Mg plus 2 and Ca plus 2. So two H plus ions are replacing with the Mg plus 2 to get R2Mg and R2Ca. What we are getting at the cation exchange resin, we are getting two H plus ions. That means wherever we are having calcium plus 2 and magnesium plus 2, there we are getting two H plus ions in the hard water sample. Wherever we are having H plus at the resin bed, at the place of H plus, calcium plus 2, magnesium plus 2 are replacing. Yes, so that is at the first chamber. So thus the hardness producing cations are removed. What we are removing in the first chamber? We are removing all the cations in the water sample. So now our aim is we have to remove anions also in the water sample. So the second chamber is packed with the anion exchange resin. What is the symbol of anion exchange resin? ROH minus. So the water coming out of the first chamber contains H plus and Cl minus, SO4 minus 2 and bicarbonate. Only anions are left after passing through the cation exchange resin. And why H plus is there? Because H plus is releasing in the water sample. But there are no replacing of H plus, only anions are removing in the anion exchange resin. So these anions are replacing with the OH minus ions. So see here, at the place of OH minus, Cl minus is replacing. At the place of OH minus, sulfates are replacing. At the place of OH minus, bicarbonates are replacing. So what is releasing at end? OH minus ion is releasing in the water, but at the resin, at the place of OH minus, these anions are striking. So here the H plus ion is releasing at cation exchange resin. OH minus ions are releasing at anion exchange resin. So these two are reacting with each other to produce the water. This water is called deionized water or the demineralized water. What is mean by the deionized water? The water which is free from the ions, the water which is free from the hardness causing ions, that is called the deionized water. So hence the water produced from ion exchange process is completely free from all cations and the anions of salts. This is ion exchange method. Now we are having the diagram. Already I explained the diagram. Now let us see the regeneration. What is mean by the regeneration? Regeneration is nothing but the reproduction. That means again we are getting the cation exchange resin and the anion exchange resin by the recycling process. But how cation exchange resin? Cation exchange resin is treating with the acid. Anion exchange resin is treating with the base. So regeneration of resin, the resin bed get exhausted. Exhausted is nothing but it will not be work when used for a long period and can be regenerated. So when we use for a long time, it will be exhausted. That can be regenerated by using the regeneration process. The exhausted cation exchange resin can be regenerated by passing acid. The exhausted ion exchange resin, that is the anion exchange resin, can be regenerated by passing base. So which acid we are using here? Hydrochloric acid. Which base, which alkaline solution we are using here? NaOH. See here, we know that R2Ca and R2Mg is forming at the cation exchange resin. It will be treating with the acid. The acid is having the H plus. See here, this is a reverse process. Now here Mg plus 2 is replacing with H plus. Ca plus 2 is replacing with H plus. What happened in previously? At the place of H plus, we got Ca plus 2 and Mg plus 2. Now in the place of Ca plus 2 and Mg plus 2, H plus ions are replacing. So what we are getting here? 2RH, 2RH. Now in the place of H plus in the acid, we are getting calcium plus 2 and magnesium plus 2. So what is RH? RH is nothing but cation exchange resin. Same like that, we are regenerating anion exchange resin also. At the resin, we got RCl, R2SO4, RHCO3, not R2, RHCO3. Now it is treating with the base. But what base is having? Base is having the OH minus ions. Now in the place of Cl minus, OH minus. In the place of SO4 minus 2, 2OH. In the place of HO4 minus 2, OH minus. So we are getting ROH. What is ROH? Anion exchange resin. So like that we can regenerate cation exchange resin and the anion exchange resin by treating with the acid and the base. This is ion exchange method or deionized process. Now let us see what are the advantages and the disadvantages of deionization process or the ion exchange method. The softened water by this method is completely free from all salts and fit for use in boilers. I explained in the previous class that if we are using the salt water in the boilers, we are getting many troubles, especially in the steam generation industry. For power generation industry, they are using the boilers. If they are using the hard water in the boilers, many drawbacks are arising. So to prevent that, we can use the ion exchange method water, because which is free from the all salts, because we have removed all the cations and all the anions in the hard water sample. It produces very low hardness, nearly 2 ppm. We are not getting this much purified water by using any other method. This is the best technique to get the highly purified water. Highly acidic or alkaline water can be treated by this method. That means by using this method, we can use either more acidic water or more basic water. Even by using this process, we can remove high amount of acid, high amount of bases can be removed by using this method. So these are the advantages of ion exchange method. But let us see what are the disadvantages. The equipment is very costly. It is very expensive method, and more expensive chemicals are required for the regeneration. And turbid water cannot be treated by this method. Turbid water is nothing but the water which is having the mud particles. If the water is having the turbidity, if the water is having the mud particles, what is happening here? The mud particles will be struck inside of the resin, because the resin is having the porous structure. It is having the holes like structure. So in the holes, the mud particles will be struck. So the efficiency of the resins will be decreasing or reducing by using turbid water. So we are not using turbid water in the ion exchange method. So this is about ion exchange method. It is very important question. So let us see the next method also. But before that, internal treatment, I explain now. The external treatment, I said what is mean by the external and the internal treatment also. In the external treatment, the water is passing externally, but in the internal treatment, this is one of the internal treatment. That means inside the water, we are adding some chemicals, but which is not part of our syllabus. So I'm not going to explain you internal treatment, but I'm showing this slides because you have to know, you must know how many techniques we have in the purification process. The internal treatment, we are having many internal treatments, but which are not part of our syllabus. The next topic is the desalination of brackish water. Brackish water is nothing but salted water. That means if the water is having more salt content, that is called saline water. It is also called as a brackish water. Desalination is nothing but removing the salts. Removing the salts in the water is called the desalination process. We are having two methods in the desalination. One is electrodialysis and another one is a reverse osmosis process. But electrodialysis is not part of our syllabus. Only reverse osmosis is part of our syllabus. So directly I'm explaining the reverse osmosis method. Maybe everyone you know about the osmosis process. It is exactly reverse to the osmosis process. That is reverse osmosis. First, let us see what is mean by the reverse osmosis. Yes. So when two solutions of unequal concentration, that means when we are taking two solutions, or else when we are taking the two different solutions having different concentration. That means one solution is having high concentration and another solution is having the low concentration. When the two solutions with different concentrations are separated by the semi-permeable membrane. We are having one of the membrane here. That membrane is called the semi-permeable membrane. What is the role of semi-permeable membrane? Semi-permeable membrane is allowing only the solvent particle through it. It is not allowing the solute. It is allowing only the solvent particles. Yes. So when two unequal concentrations are separated by a semi-permeable membrane, which does not permit the passage of dissolved solute particles, that is molecules and the ions. It is not allowing the solute. It is allowing only the solvent particles. Here flow of solvent takes place from dilute to concentrated side. One solution is having less concentration and another one is having the more concentration. More concentrated one is called the high concentration solution, and less concentration solution is called the dilute solution. When the solvent particles will transfer from dilute to high concentrated, that is called the osmosis process. And that process is a natural process. It is occurring naturally. No need to apply any human pressure. No need to apply the pressure. Without pressure, without support, this process is happening. This is the natural process. But the reverse osmosis process is not the natural process. It is the artificial process, which is done only in the presence of external pressure by the human being. So what is meant by the osmosis? When the solvent particles will transfer from dilute to concentrated, that is called the osmosis. But what is reverse osmosis? The solvent particles will transfer from concentrated to dilute side. That is the reverse osmosis. If a hydrostatic pressure in excess of osmotic pressure is applied on the concentrated side. Now, what is our aim? We want to transfer the solvent form particles from concentrated to dilute. When it is happening, when we apply the pressure, how much pressure we have to apply here? More than the osmotic pressure. Where we are applying now? We are applying the pressure at concentrated side. When we are applying the pressure at concentrated side, now the solvent particles will be transferred from here to here. That is called the reverse osmosis process. So let us see what is the definition of reverse osmosis. If a hydrostatic pressure in excess of osmotic pressure is applied on the concentrated side, the solvent is forced to move from high concentrated to low concentrated side. The solvent flow is reverse. Hence, this method is called the reverse osmosis process. So thus in a reverse osmosis process, pure water is separated from the contaminated water. What is mean by the contaminated water? Contaminated water is nothing but the water which is having the impurities. So in contaminated water, contaminants are acting as a solute and the remaining one, the solvent is a pure water. Contaminants is solute, pure water is a solvent here. So now what is happening here through semi-permeable membrane? Only solvent is passing. Solvent is nothing but the pure water in the contaminated water. So like that, we are getting the pure water from the contaminated water in the reverse osmosis process. And this membrane filtration is also called as the superfiltration or the hyperfiltration. Now let us see the diagram and the explanation for the reverse osmosis process. See here, it is having the two chambers. Now two chambers, the two different concentrated solutions are there. One is a salt water and another one is a fresh water, which is having more concentration here. Salt water is having more concentration. The salt water is also called as the contaminated water here. And another side, we are having the fresh water. Here, fresh water is the dilute water or the dilute solution or the low concentrated solution. But what is happening in the reverse osmosis process? Solvent is transferring from high concentrated to low concentrated. But when it is happening, when we are applying more than the osmotic pressure at high concentrated side. This is a high concentrated side. So we are applying more than the osmotic pressure at the high concentrated side. But I said now only the solvent is transferred from contaminated water to fresh water. In contaminated water, contaminants are solute, pure water is a solvent. That means only pure water is transferring. See here, the dots are the contaminants here and the blue one is a water here. Only the blue one is transferring from here to here and the contaminants are settled down at the top of the semi-permeable membrane. Like that, we are getting the fresh water in the reverse osmosis process. Now let us read out the reverse osmosis process. The reverse osmosis cell consists of two chambers fitted with a semi-permeable membrane, above which seawater or impure water is taken and a pressure of 15 to 40 kg per centimeter square is applied on the salt water. And the pure water is forced through the semi-permeable membrane, which is made very thin films of cellulose acetate. So what here? Only the pure water is transferring from here to here, because pure water is a solvent here. And here this film is, that is a membrane, is made of the cellulose acetate. The cellulose acetate is having that capacity to transfer only the solvent particle. However, superior membrane made of polymethacrylate and polyamide polymers have come to use. So these are also using to prepare the semi-permeable membrane. We are using cellulose acetate, polymethacrylate or polyamide for preparing the semi-permeable membrane. This is reverse osmosis process. So now let us see what are the advantages. Both ionic and non-ionic colloidal and high molecular weight organic matter is removed from the water sample. That means we can remove all kind of impurities in the reverse osmosis process. And cost of purification of water is very less and maintenance cost is less. Because of that reason, we are using in the domestic purpose RO purifiers. This water can be used for high pressure boilers. Yes, especially in the high pressure boilers, we are using the reverse osmosis process. And this is about today's class. These two are very, very important questions in the external examination as well as internal examination. And remaining, we will see in the next class. And thank you so much, ma'am.